It numbs you, a nightmare, a horrible disease. These are just a few of the ways people have described mental illness in their lives, whether it's you, your child, or a friend. Mental illness impacts all of us in the same ways, and that's why the Mind Space podcast is committed to uncovering mental illness and the impact it has.
Welcome to Mindspace Podcast. My name is Fahad bin Mohammed. It's a pleasure to be here as well.
Fahad bin Mohammed.
Yes, Fahad bin Mohammed. So today I have a very lovely guest. She's called Laura Grace, who's going to share with us her struggles through failure, her struggles with addiction, her struggles through life generally, so we can pick a perspective from her and hopefully we can pick something that we can take home with us.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
Yeah.
You know these kinds of things and the logistics involved. But thank you very much for honoring us.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah,
Fahad bin Mohammed. Bin Laden, bin Mohammed.
No, just bin Mohammed. It's
okay.
Fahad, son of Mohammed. My father is called Mohammed.
That's a nice name.
Yeah. So, Laura,
Yeah.
you can briefly introduce yourself to the people.
I'm Laura Grace. I work on 104.1 Power FM. And I also have a blog, Laura Grace, called Laura Grace, where I talk about my life, my journey, and I also talk about the person I love the most, and that's God, Jesus Christ. I talk about that a lot because he has played a very huge factor when it comes to where I am right now. Yeah, because if you see from the beginning, I was a person who was in events, organizing parties, managing hangouts, when it comes to Cementi, when it comes to Bugolobi hangouts, that was my zone. But right now, I'm now a part of the church. I'm part of Christian radio, and there's a lot going on. There's a big factor he played right there in between, and he's still working and playing a big factor. I also did some sports as well.
You did some sports?
Yeah, I was a boxer. I just retired 2 years back. Yeah, and I'm a national lightweight champion. Until they have other competitions and they beat each other. Now.
But that's really, really impressive because I played sports, but I've envied the boxers.
It's not easy.
Rugby is like a team sport, like football. You're many, but now rugby, you're an individual. Or you meet up.
Boxing, yeah.
So that must have been. We'll get into that.
Sure.
But I want you to tell us the whole. You said you used to work in bars, events, basically the entertainment scene of the country.
Yeah, I used to. That was back starting from 2013. I stopped in 2017. That's when God stepped in. Yeah, 2017
to 2017.
Yes.
You were on a roll. You
party after party. 20, we got to. I was a 20 chairperson. I was the chairperson of 20 really.
Yeah, so my people, I would say.
Every day. So yeah.
Basically, with the way the entertainment industry is in Uganda, is basically it's
a fast life.
It's a very fast life. I mean, there seems to be no sense of direction. There's a lot of misery in the industry. I mean, most of these artists portray a life where, they're happy, they're okay, but that's not usually the case. Okay. So with all the drugs and the media and the men and the women and whatever is going on out in there, did that take a toll on you?
Well, what I can say is not a life of misery, as you can say, a life of misery, because guys are doing a party. They're having fun.
I know they're really giving it.
They're having fun, and it depends on. It's work that's that. Now, where I was working, it was in the bar. I used to work at night, and first I worked at places like Fat Boys. It's not there anymore in Cementi, but I was like the head of sales and the marketing manager. Stroke manager at some point. So what I had to do was to bring in people to have a good time.
To drink the alcohol.
To drink the alcohol, to do it. But the problem is, for you to make those sales, people have to drink more. And sadly, some people make mistakes as they're drinking, because drinking, I'll tell you personally, you can drink and you go home and you sleep. You haven't done anything wrong. That's fine. That's okay. But then people make mistakes when you drink too much. Mistakes happen. Either they have been robbed, other people pass away, they get accidents. Girls used to get raped at some point around Cementi. Border men used to attack girls when they're taking them back home. So a lot would happen. So that was the kind of fast life I'm talking about, because it's a life where there's no control. Because you have to we are drinking. Even me, I used to drink with my friends. But there is a need for control. So there was no control there. So it started from there, 2013, 2014 at Fat Boys. Then we moved on to Iguana, they moved on around and did some events there. Then we moved to Bugolobi. There was a place called Banana. So and people would move with you.
Yeah,
people would
your
move
crowd.
with me. Yeah, and I appreciate that. I appreciate them so much. They would move with me. We are going here. Okay.
You are the life of the party. More or less.
I don't know. Maybe you can say that, but what I can say is that I liked hanging out with people. I liked and I still do. Just that COVID has come in. In case COVID is done and we have events coming back, I'll still do the same thing I was doing, but this time I'll be doing it differently. Because this time I'll be doing Christian events, Christian hangouts. It will be a lot more different than what I used to do. So that used
Less
to happen.
secular.
Less secular, of course. No, that it wouldn't be secular at all. So that used to happen, and people we fall into mistake. But then what happened is that I went into sports when it comes to my story, and sports plays a big role in someone having discipline. Sports will teach you discipline. And a sports like boxing, I entered boxing. I said, let me do boxing. There are a few girls doing boxing. Why don't I do this sport? There's less competition, you know. I was like, hey, I can travel.
What year was this?
That was now 2016.
2016.
After doing all those bars, After doing all the bars, I reached a point I said, now let me do what? Let me do boxing. I also had my own bar at some point. I finally got my own bar called Genesis around Bugolobi there. But then it closed. Because what happens with the bar business is that one thing I've learned, that people are not loyal to hangouts.
Yeah.
They look for the next... What is the next
big thing?
The next big thing.
Yeah.
So if anyone is doing that business, it's a business I really went into, and I know the art of that business, of getting numbers and all that. If someone is to enter that business, you make sure you do something with a plan of I invest short, then jump out, jump off the ship. Because when the next big hangout comes in, people will leave your chairs empty. Yeah. I think you have seen this happen.
We have actually seen the number of rebrandings. They keep on swapping.
There are only a few places that have had loyal clients. I saw Bufunda always have their loyal clients. Nothing too much. But the next flashy thing, people will jump to that. What's the next hangout? People will jump. There are a few that have hung in there, but Uganda. Yeah. Where's the party? Where's the new place? How much is the beer? So they first got the Akafunda, then they go somewhere else. So what happened when I got my own place, my own bar, I felt like I had made it. I was like, finally, but...
So what I want to understand is, this was a very fast-paced life. You were drinking. Were you on any other drugs or just drinking?
No, I couldn't do other drugs. From high school, I remember I had tested weed. Yeah. But I was like, I always want to be in control because it makes you lose control at some point. Yeah. Some people, it makes them sleep. Some point, it makes them laugh. Some point, it makes them hungry. Yeah. Others, it makes them angry. Yeah. So I was like, I want to be in control of what I'm doing. So this is something I don't want to do. So that one, it was a high school kind of thing, but I let go of it. Yeah,
you didn't really conform to narcotics.
I didn't. I would drink. I was drinking. I was smoking. Even when I was drinking, I was working. Yeah. So I would be in control.
You are a functional addict.
I wasn't an addict. I wasn't. I was addicted to the party.
Addicted to the party.
Addicted to. I cannot stay home on a weekend. I cannot stay home on a weekend. Yeah. I have to go out. And because that was my work. That was my job. That's how I used to make money. Yeah. But I had control of... I cannot... The addiction would come in later on. Yeah. It came in a bit. Because by the time I now closed the bar that I had, the one that was called Genesis. Yes. That's when I went into now a pit of what I can say, depression. Yes. And now that's when the drinking became more. Because I had control of my drinking. Yeah. When it comes to cigarettes, I had control over it, but I was a drinker. I was a smoker. I had packs of cigarettes because if I'm drinking, I have to be smoking.
I understand the correlation. That's how it always gets.
It's like salt with food. You cannot drink without smoking. So that I used to do. But so that I cannot do without it. No, I hadn't reached there until the part when I had closed my bar and I was like, I am tired of this. Because now at that part, I went into depression. I don't forget, I was still doing boxing. Yeah. And I had to choose to leave drinking and smoking. Because whenever I'd go for training, I just started training competitive boxing. Yes. Whenever I'd go for training, you'd feel that you feel you cannot run. Because you run those hills. Boxing is discipline. You cannot just mess around. So you have to choose. Either I'm going to do sports or I'm going to do the party.
Yes.
And this is what happened. Now this is where the first battle began.
Yes.
Sports or the party. Sports or the party. You reach a point whereby either I've been out with my friends, we've had a good night would be drinking up to morning. Up to like 2. That would be a perfect night. 2 a.m., 2 p.m. the next day. That would have been that's what we used to call a perfect night. Where you have made money, people have come in and the whole night you have made those sales. Now too. But now imagine you have training
the next day.
Or even on a Sunday, because people Uganda we drink on Sunday. People drink on Sunday. I'm a Ugandan, so I'll say we. Yeah. On Sunday, people still have their party. So imagine Monday, I expected in the gym. I was really dedicated to my boxing because I liked it. So you find out struggle. I am from some hangout which used to be around there, Bokoto. It's now morning, but I am from that. Then I'm like, what am I going to do? So that was the first battle that happened. Yes. So the depression comes in when I have to close
your bar.
The bar.
Why did you close the bar? What led you to closing your bar?
It was a bad business deal. The place that I had gotten to rent, I'd paid all the rent.
Yes.
But then they were going to build a road. There was no future in it. They said they were going to build a road across it, so they will have to remove it. Yes. So these guys knew about that road thing. But of course, when we were signing the contracts, I think they didn't feel like mentioning it.
Yes.
So when I found that out, I was like, I wanted something that was going to continue. And also, I wanted something smaller, because the smaller the place is, the more relatable you are with your customers, the science of the bar and all that. But then I just saw it as a bad deal, and I had gotten tired of moving to different bars, running this one, running another one, and I said, you know what? Let me maybe go back into marketing and promoting. Instead of me being the owner, let me go back to being a promoter. So I tried setting my, talking to the owners of different places. But I think this time around, God was saying, my friend, you have had enough party. It's time up. You're not going back there. Yeah. I will not get any replies. Yet before, whenever I would leave a hangout, let me say I would leave a place, it would take me 1 week to get a new one. I wouldn't nation that I'm looking for a job. Yeah. I wouldn't be like, I'm job hunting. No. It would take me like 1 week. Someone has already called me because they knew the gift I had. They knew that I was a person who used to pull crowds to come and drink. Yeah. So if you had a place that is new and then you say, okay, Laura, come in and...
you're the plug. You're the people plug.
She will fill the seats because seats have to be filled. In a week, the seats would be filled. So this time around, no one was calling me. Nothing was happening. Now I started drinking. Now I started drinking more. And I started drinking to numb that
the pain,
the disappointment of closing my bar. I started drinking now, abusing. The thing is, you're abusing the alcohol, because like I said, someone will drink one beer and they go to sleep. Everything needs self-control, and self-control is a gift that is given only by God. Because if you look at the fruits of the Spirit, there's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Self-control is a huge gift, and it's only from God. Because it comes like when someone has money, you can be successful and you have a lot of money, you have a company, you're making millions, but you have no self-control. You're getting that money and using it to either party, do what, drinking so much, or you're buying prostitutes, you're giving girls money, and the money goes because you don't have self-control. And it's only God who gives that self-control. You can be married. You have finally gotten married and you're like, now I have a wife or I have a husband. But then you have no self-control of your body. You start sleeping around, then that's where the divorce. So self-control is a huge virtue that many of us do not know until you only find Jesus Christ and you find God. He's the one who will give you that self-control. Is there a correlation
between self-control and willpower?
Self-control and willpower. Now that's where I'm going to come into the mind. That's where I'm going to come into the mind, because the mind, there's a mind, there's your mind, there's your will, and there's your emotions. Fahad, I hope
I'm a very spiritual person, because I myself am.
We're going to get into that, but
you are still telling me about
I went down the drain.
Why now you're drinking because of...
I'm abusing it.
You're abusing the alcohol.
I'm not drinking to have fun, because you have your friends around. You want to have a good time.
Yes.
There's no problem with that, No problem with having friends around. You want to have a good time, but the problem comes in when there's no control of the party. People start fighting. So now you're abusing the liquor. Because at times I realized that there were some customers who'd come in and they've had a long day and they've just come to drown
Their sorrows.
Their sorrows, and that is abuse. That's where the addiction comes in. That's where the abuse comes in. Now I became those people. After I closed my bar, I started now drinking the cheap liquor. If I was drinking, I don't know if I should say brands here.
I don't. You can. I don't know.
Yeah, you're drinking a normal beer, but now you decide, let me get. That time there was this UG wasn't in bottles, so UG wasn't even a thing. Orange wasn't a thing because I was a whiskey person. Yeah. I was more of a Jack Daniels person. I was more of a black label person. But from that now I started to get a Cavera. Give me Bondo. That time the Cavera was still there.
The sachets.
The sachets. So you want first take your Cavera, then you go to the bar, and then because you're already now set.
You entered and you have loaded.
Now I can buy one beer to show that I can fit in, and that's a problem. Yes. We're struggling to fit in, yet we are destroying ourselves. I was destroying myself, because now I was abusing it, drinking more, now drinking cheap beer. Yeah, there's some beer that's really, really cheap. Drinking cheap beer, I wasn't eating. Because now the money is not coming in. Yes. Now all you want to do is still use alcohol. You still want to use cigarettes. You still have your priorities are alcohol and cigarettes. I don't know if you call it an addiction or something, but that was a problem.
Yes. You are now living to use them. Using to live.
Yes, I was now using to live until I decided to, let me get back home. I packed up. I stayed in Golobi. I went back home like a prodigal child.
Yes.
But what changed my life there? Because now I was just partying. I remember what happened is that I don't have money, but I still want to party. I was addicted to the party.
Yes.
I needed that company. I needed to drown myself in the people around, so that I can forget my problems. And I never used to be a person who would go to a place and not pay for my drinks.
Yes.
Or go to a place and say, the tab, I'll pay later. No, I never used to do that. Right. But I knew I had hit rock bottom when I actually went to a spot which I really liked, because I like old school music, oldies. Yes. So I used to always go there. And I told this guy that, I'll pay. That's when it hit me. You have to always, I believe in life we always have to take reports, keep track of what you're doing.
An inventory.
Always do inventory.
Yes.
Inventory of what you're doing. Always do assessment. This month, how have I budgeted? This month, what have... So when I looked at myself doing that for the first time, I said, this is not right. I don't drink on banja. I never used to do that. By the time that I'm drinking on banja, I knew that there was a problem. So what happens? There's a fight. Don't forget, I'm still doing boxing. There's a fight that came up, and I was fighting some big Chana. Ghetto, what? She's actually my friend. A very good
solid, eh?
Solid. If you bring her here, really, both of us would allow. You'd be like, I am not managed. You really don't tell the difference, you know. That is the chick. She was solid. That's the point I've actually grown in, from Katwe, a good friend of mine. She's actually a very good boxer. She's still boxing up to now. We had a good fight. It was a good fight. But the problem is, there was no winner. It was a draw. But I was disappointed in myself. It was a good fight, but because there were other things I was battling with, like pride. Yes. When you overthink of yourself when depression is linked to pride as well. Yes. Because depression is when you think so much about your situation instead of let it go. It's not that serious. But when you dwell on it much,
let it go and let God.
Yes, let go and let God. But when you want to be the one to take control of that. So that fight was a big changer. That's where the mental health now starts. Because I remember I used to leave home and
this is changing for positive or for negative?
For positive. Because when that fight happened and I felt like I would have done better, I felt disappointed in myself. Yes. I felt I was just feeling down. Now I started hearing voices in my head.
Like schizophrenic voices?
You call it, I don't know what you use the English you want to use.
No, as in like you can see voices and it's like the hyper speaking to you. Or there were those voices of I'm hearing voices.
There were voices telling me that you are a loser. When people break down, when people commit suicide, that mental health, that's when it has reached that point.
Yes.
Because you feel you have not made it, you feel you're disappointed, you feel, and then you dwell into it.
The sense of hopelessness that comes from being in that situation.
So when I was dwelling in that situation of I have not made it. I don't have even any about to run. I don't even have money. I've even lost this fight. I'm not.
You were really at a low point.
Yeah. I started hearing this. I reached a point where I would even just scream and say, keep quiet. And people will say, it's just schizophrenia, it's what? But if I mean to go deep now in the spiritual stuff, those are not good voices to hear.
Yeah.
Those are not good voices. Someone will say those are demons you're actually hearing. Demons,
Yeah,
you're
people-
battling
people
demons.
battling demons.
People are battling demons, they are battling demons. People cannot sleep, because God gives rest to those he loves. It's in the Bible. So why can't you sleep? Why are you awake?
Were you still drinking heavily
I was
after
still
during that fighting season when you were defeated?
I was still drinking. I was still smoking.
It pushed you further down the
pushed me
road.
further. That's when I heard the voices.
This is like 20 what?
This is 2017.
2017.
Because
After you
my
left the
turning
bar.
point was in November.
Yes.
It was in November.
Of 2017. Yeah.
I was hearing the voices. I was hearing all that, and I couldn't sleep as well. Every time I would go to sleep, I would get like attacks. You know, you wake up, you're like, "What's happening? Why is this happening on a regular? What's happening? What's all this?" My mind wasn't stable.
Yeah.
My mind was telling me that you are a loser. I had no control of my mind. But like I've told you, there's one person who will help you with your mind. Because now, spirituality, Jesus is the answer to all the things we go through. Because he says that you have the mind of Christ. And his mind is a peaceful mind. You know, he says you have the mind of Christ. You have that mind. You shouldn't be battling these things. He says he hasn't given you a spirit of fear, but of love, power, love, and a sound mind.
Yes, my fellow Muslim brothers and sisters out there, this is Nabi Isa we're talking about. So please take in the information and not with a pinch of salt, but take it in.
I know they are getting what I'm saying.
Yeah, because we're
They
speaking
understand.
spirituality, yes. Yeah, he was a very pure soul.
Yeah. And like even before I came, I told you that, man, I'm going to talk about Jesus.
No, I have no problem. I love Jesus as well. Like, why would I hate on Jesus?
That's cool.
Jesus
That's
is
cool.
he's
He
all
loves
vibes.
all of us.
Yeah, he loves all of us. Yeah.
And he loves everyone. Let no one ever said, I don't like people who go out, who doesn't love people who party and sleep around there. No.
Yeah, people actually use those distinctions a lot.
That's not right.
That because they are going to the bar or they are
People are going to the bar,
fornicating or they are
problem.
doing whatever, they believe it's an excuse to stay away from their Lord. Which I believe is not right.
You know, religion has done a lot.
Yeah.
Do's and don'ts. I'm not a religious person of do's and don'ts. I'm a person who has a relationship with God.
Yeah.
And I have a relationship with my Father. He's my authority.
Yes.
When you have an authority, there is control. When you don't have anyone who is an authority to you, you have no control. You do
There's
things
no accountability.
anyhow. Yes.
Yeah.
So God is my authority. And I have a relationship with him.
Yes.
And the fact that he picked me, why he picked me? Because he loved me. And he loves all the people that are doing all these things.
Yes.
He loves them, but he doesn't love what they are doing. Because he knows what they're doing is breaking them down. It's not helping them. He sees them going down a drain. He's like, I don't want these guys to go through this. I love them, you know. Like I said, you can go have you 2 beers. You can go and sleep. Have you abused anyone? Have you done anything? No. But now this is what happened.
Yes.
I couldn't sleep at night. I'm hearing these voices. I am not making any money. I'm not getting money coming through. Everything was on a standstill.
It looked like it was getting worse actually.
And things
I can
when
imagine.
things get worse, they are only getting
Yeah,
when you hit
rock bottom, the only way up is up.
That is the thing. I was on rock bottom. And that time my sister was trying to always throw in like a preaching thing here, and I'm like, what are you? Don't preach to me. What? You know, things like that chill me. Why you don't send me this? But she was trying her best, and I had my family members that were also praying for me. My sisters were praying for me. Because they were like, hey, you know, you're not working, you're not making money, but you want to go and drink.
Yeah.
Why? You know?
They don't understand
There is no direction.
the insanity of the addict doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Like after I was addicted to the party.
Yeah.
I was addicted to the party
and socializing.
And
I felt like
socializing.
you needed people around you. The same way you're making it feel is like you are not okay enjoying your own solitude.
Exactly. Something's always pushing you to go out and be with people. And I'll tell you right now, I'm a person who stays at home every weekend and I have a lot of peace and I'm happy. And it's a long story, like I've said. It's a journey.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
This has been a journey. So this is what happens. One night, I remember one Sunday, I go on my knees and I'm like, God, I'm having bad nights. come through for me. I think I even had a hangover. I don't know how to. People want to make things complicated, but God is always there waiting for you. You just have to talk to Him.
Yeah.
I said, help me. I know you're the only person who can help me in this situation.
You accepted powerlessness over your condition.
I surrendered that I had no power. When we think we can do things on our own, we are nothing. We are just flesh. There's an authority that has a lot of more power than we do. When you want to do things on your own power, go ahead.
It usually goes south because I've also been down that road where Nachekwatiram. So I actually said that same prayer you said, still high, still going through the system. I may actually even knelt in the middle of the road. I think it was like 3 a.m. I knelt in the middle of the road, said a prayer, and the next day I was arrested and that's
you have a story, man. I'm going to host you on my thing as well.
We can always exchange, but I mean, I really, really relate from where you're coming from. Like that point where you're like, okay, now I think you are tired of being tired.
And let me tell you, it's a blessing to hit rock bottom and actually realize that, you know what? Something has to change.
Yeah.
Because for some people, they do not. They hit rock bottom and they do not actually realize that something has to change. They continue down that road.
The self-destructive nature of an addict that craves failure.
So it's the grace of God that will make you snap out of it. I'm like, you know what? I think I've had enough.
Yeah.
It's time for me to move. There'll be the distractions that are going to come.
Yeah,
your friends will keep calling you. The time when you have no money to drink, they'll have
it. They
it.
always have it. That's the problem actually. When you have rich friends. That's a topic for another day. But rich friends also. But
I get you. There's a house party. I don't know that. Now I know what's going on. I know the house party is going on. Put ring over. Let me have to report to them. It's okay because I won't report anyone.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, You have to be so careful because there will be something that will pull you back.
Yeah.
But until you reach a point and you're like, you know what? I have had enough. That's the grace of God. Something has to change. And you snap out of it. That's what happens. So I went on my knees. I prayed. That night I slept. But in the middle of the night at around 3 a.m.
Yeah.
I woke up. Now I'm not here to scare you. This is not a Nigerian movie. I am actually speaking a true story.
Yeah.
This is my story. I woke up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. I saw a dark figure coming towards me. And I said, not again. I thought I had prayed. Don't forget I had a sleepless night. I was like, not again. But when I saw that dark figure coming towards me, I also had singing. Like angelic singing. Just to believe or not. I mean,
no, trust me. The supernormal I believe in. I have no doubts about the supernormal.
I had singing like angelic singing. It was singing like a children's Sunday school song. Like bells, when you those bells.
The trinkets, the one.
I was like, what's happening? I was now hearing these things. Then I turned and I just had a voice saying that love is all the world needs. I'll never forget these words. And this is like 4 years back. Love is all the world needs. Love is everything. When that voice was so clear, the dark shadow that had come towards me, immediately it would just disappear. The moment it had the voice, it couldn't stand that voice.
Yeah.
Because that voice was God. That voice was Christ. That voice was the authority that I submit to right now that's keeping me in check and in control.
Amen to that.
From that day on, I woke up, I said, I had this feeling that, okay, I think I'm now going to start sleeping. But do you think that the drinking stopped?
No. It doesn't stop immediately. It's a process.
I went back. I think someone called me for a party. I said, okay, I'm here, we go. But was until 1 week, I did the drinking. The next week, I was just on my TV, watching TV. Flipping through the channels, I like watching music. Now I went to a Christian station. I watched a guy speaking, God, God loves you. Then I remembered what happened to me that night. Then something hit me that, you know what? There's someone who saved you that night. And the same person is going to help you in whatever you're going through right now. Yeah. I just went on my knees, went to a room on my knees, prayed. I said, God, take charge. Jesus, I'm here. And this is something I didn't tell you. When addicts usually relapse, now me, I was relapsing when it came to my walk with that authority, with God, with Jesus. I was relapsing because there was a part when I was still running the bars, there was a time in 2015 where I had actually given my life to Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I'm not going to be running the bars anymore. I'll do farming, because I was doing farming as well at some point.
Yeah.
But then, like I've told you, someone called me. Hello, there's a bar, because you need money. You need to work.
Yeah.
And man, if you are slave to money, it will take you down the drain. Because this is God, this is money. You cannot serve two people. So I was serving two people now.
There was
I needed the
love
money.
for Mama and
Something will have control.
yeah.
Something will direct you. Something will have authority over you. Yeah. So in 2015, I had done that. I had already given my life to Christ. But now I was battling. Because I needed money. I was like, the farming, you have to be patient. I went and started running the bars again. You'd find me in the bar and I'm telling people, no, me, I'm not a changed person. You know, I found God, I found what.
But you're inviting them to drink.
They also had you some beer. Okay. So I couldn't balance. You have to choose a side.
Yeah.
Choose a side. Don't be hot and cold. Choose a side and say, you know what? This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I found myself, at some point I even found myself telling people about God in the bar. And they even said, giving me a nickname, that pastor. That was the one who had invited them to come and drink.
Yeah.
I'm the one who was adding them more beer. So that was a lie.
Like hypocrisy, man. It's like a double standard.
I won't even call it hypocrisy. Yeah, you can call it hypocrisy, yes. And because my heart was in the right place.
But your actions.
But the actions weren't. I was trying to survive, but I was trying to do things my way.
People, I think it comes back to that statement of people walk with the Lord differently. Mm-hmm. There are certain places we walk into and we take the Lord with us. Then there are certain places we walk into and leave him at the door.
Let me tell you, God was telling me that this, you have to choose me or the party. That was the thing.
Yeah.
It's either me or the party. Choose. Because you are a born-again Christian or a Christian who believes in Jesus Christ, and you're around your temptations. You're playing around where your temptations are. Yet you want to now live a pure life. You want to live a life that's, and have more control. But you're playing around. It's like someone saying that I'm off cocaine. But you hang around with the cocaine dealers. You're chilling with the poor, actually, mixing, purifying it and what. You're joking. Yeah. So you have to choose. You have to get out. That's why I say it sets you apart. He has to get you out of the game. That. You have to get out. So I had to choose the party or him. That night when I did that and I prayed. So I had those things of down and down, up until, and now it really went down. 2016, 2017, it was bad drinking up to morning, being drunk, it was really bad. Until that night when I went on my knees, the next morning when I went on my knees, fast forward to the story. Yes. And I just said that simple prayer, but this is what happened. I opened a book called the Bible. When I opened that book and I read the first page, it was a random page. I could understand what was inside that book. Because before I used to read this book, and it was like an encyclopedia, it was boring. And what is this? Those says who? I'm like, you can't understand. But now this time round, I opened the book and I could understand what I was reading. Yeah. It's like my eyes were opened. That's why you see when the Bible says that the blind can now see. People think someone who is blind. No. It's your eyes have now been opened. Your spiritual eyes are now open.
Those that were once misled have now found the right path.
I came to set the captives free. The blind, to give the sight to the blind. People think that this is spiritual blindness. Not this one of us born blind. What? My eyes can. No, it's spiritual blindness. You can see, but you're not seeing. That's the thing. You are seeing something you think is going to satisfy you, but you're actually seeing that's your downfall. You see this bottle of alcohol, and you're like, if I drink this, the problem will go. The music, the what? But you're not actually seeing and hearing that. That's not where a solution is. You drink that alcohol, you get drunk, or some people deal with their depression different ways. Others drink, others sleep around, others, you find someone is sleeping all over the place. But there's something they're battling. There's some brokenness that they're dealing with. Yeah. So that's not going to help you, because afterwards you wake up the next morning, it's still there. The brokenness is still there. You have not solved anything. You have actually gone down the drain. Yeah. So I got into that book. My eyes were open. I could understand what I was reading. I was like, how come I didn't understand things like this way before? Now this is where the mindset comes in as well. Now my mind changed because I was renewing it. Everything, the solution to mental health is God. Because everything is in the Bible. He says, renew your mind with the word of God. Mental health is a battle with your mind. Everyone struggles with mental health. Mental health can happen to anyone. So the problem that some struggle with, some face it rough more than others, because when they choose to deal with their disappointments, they really have it rough with their disappointments.
Yes.
I've spoken to counselors when I'm on air, when I'm on radio, and they say that sometimes some people actually it's even like genetic or something. There's something that's missing.
There's a genetic predisposition to addiction.
Yeah.
That's why actually in Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous there's a prayer where we pray for people actively born into addiction.
And you see, when people are doing rehab,
Yeah.
They bring in God. They have people who talk to them.
Yeah.
The
higher power.
They are counselors. Then there's also a higher power, that control.
You have to submit to a higher power, whatever it is you
Exactly.
believe in, whether you're an atheist, whether you're
like what
Muslim,
you said, yeah.
whether you're Buddha, whether you believe in Jesus Christ, you have to submit to a higher
Exactly,
power.
that's true.
Yeah.
So that's the higher power I submitted to. I renewed my mind. I found myself seated every day, just opening them. Even at home, people were like, Lord, aren't you going to work? Aren't you going to... I started doing like a thing, because I was doing boxing now, I started doing fitness training.
Yeah.
Because the training for boxing is really hard.
Yeah.
It's harder than rugby. It's harder at some point even than military, because we used to train with people from Uganda. The military UPDF was a sports club, the boxing club.
Yes.
And the guys were like, we are allowed, because it's tight. So when you're doing that, you can actually train others, because you know you have
You know the drills.
you know the drills.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. At some point I was like, but then I had spent a whole month just on the Bible, renewing your mind with the word of God.
Renewing your faith.
It's renewing your mind with the word, because the word of God says you're healed. The word of God says that do not be afraid. You know, the word of God says that be courageous, be brave. You can do all things. Those are the words you're renewing your mind with. Yet don't forget the battles I was having before. Of you are a loser, you have lost, you are losers, you are lost. Those things left. I started renewing my mind, started praying, and I said, this walk, I threw away all the things that I was doing, all the things that I was using, cigarettes, I threw them all away. I said, in this walk, I'm not going to drink. It was a decision I made. I said, no, if I'm to drink in this journey, I'm now born again, I'm now saved, I'm now a Christian, and I'm still drinking, it's going to take me back to the party. Because the choice was you or the
Party.
You or the party. That was the thing. So I chose him. I said the party no. So I immediately said no drinking. And I'll tell you, 5 years. It's now 5 years. I haven't drunk at all. I don't even... my friends were like, hey, don't you have like an urge?
The cravings.
I don't have any craving. I don't... And that's not my power. It's God's power. When it comes to cigarettes, I don't even know what cigarettes are anymore. I don't know why I was smoking them. Someone will be like, you're lying, you're joking. No. I also might ask myself, like something happened to my mind. Something took something out of my mind. Something pulled, like when you have, your mind is like a cassette, then a radio, plays different tunes. I'm giving you an example of that, a metaphor.
Yeah.
But then someone removes a tape that you have been playing and says, this one you won't remember it. That is God who did that. That's something that they call the supernatural, the higher power.
Yeah.
He did that. I have no memory of where I started, why, because I knew it was a high school thing, but I don't have, why did I like it so much? That the urge went. Those are some of that's now the deliverance part. Because deliverance is deliverance of the mind. Because the battle everyone faces in life is with the mind. The thoughts that are coming to you are the mind. Whatever you're trying to do, business deal, it will first come to your mind. If you are thinking of a business,
yes,
it will first come to your mind. What is your mind telling you? That's where the battlefield is between good and evil. And I was renewing my mind. My mind was renewed, and some of the things were taken out. At which point I said, okay, now I need to work. I'm not going to be a person who just stays home. I sent messages to my friends that I do fitness training. I first consulted God. Because when before you do anything, consult God.
You have to pray for His will.
His will, thank you. But you want to be an assistant.
Yeah, you pray for His will, because I'm also a very spiritual person. I mean,
consult Him.
Yeah.
He knows the plan.
When you wake up in the morning, you're like, God, first show me today.
Where do you want me to go?
What do you want us to do today?
Yeah, exactly. And like I've told you, all that is in the Bible. We have a Bible, but we have phones as well.
Yes.
I'll be on WhatsApp, I'll be looking at videos, TikTok, YouTube. It sometimes happens to me as well, Yes. Then I have to remember, there's something here that has a lot of wisdom that's going to help you. But we rarely open that book. it has a lot of wisdom. Because it says that I know the plans I have for you. He knows the plan. Plans for good and not for disaster. He says that I knew you when you were in your mother's womb. He meaning that he already knew your life, he knew what you're going to become. But somewhere when we choose to do things our own way, we are getting off his plan. You do a business investment, money comes in as it goes. Because you didn't consult.
Yes.
You didn't ask him, is this what you actually want me to do? So I remember I first prayed. I said, I want to help me get clients. I sent emails to NGOs, all companies, because they have fitness programs.
Yes, Salim.
And I'll tell you, God came through.
He does.
He came through. The next week, I received that email. A friend of mine called me and said, come and that thing. Yeah, very big NGO.
Yes.
Come and train us while we want a fitness thing. And then that's how I was making my clean money. I'll call it clean money because the money I was making before was
tainted.
It was dirty money.
Yeah, it was tainted money.
It was dirty money. It's not blessed. I don't mean to offend anyone. This is my opinion. I believe it was cursed because you're getting money from people getting high and making mistakes. People have died on their doors when they're drunk.
And it weighs heavy. I know how it weighs consciously. There's a burden on your consciousness, especially when it's more or less like the demons we make.
But you see, the good thing with finding Christ is that you're now a new creation. The past is gone. He doesn't remember that.
You're born again?
I'm born again. I'm a born again Christian.
Yeah, you speak like a real born again. It's because now you're a clear manifestation of a new life. I
won't lie to you. That's the truth. And I'm still a work in progress. I'm not perfect because He's perfecting us.
Perfection is an attribute of the Lord. We can only strive for it.
Perfection. You know when perfection will happen? Perfection will happen when we are dead. Do you know what I'm trying to say? When you are dead, the real you, if you have been with Christ, will be like Him.
Yes.
You'll be like Him. You're perfected only. It's when you're in His image because He's perfecting you. We are broken people. We have things that broke us from childhood. You know, the enemy started from childhood.
Actually, now that is what
and that's what causes some people to drink as well and you abuse
for
and
addiction. Actually,
to drugs.
I have a vast, not really vast, but I have my own experience and my own knowledge and research that I've carried out. So usually, what we have is the addiction. Usually, is a result of human suffering. It's just a reflection. Yes? So what you have been through prior, your childhood, your high school, your secondary years, your university years, must have actually played an impact. Even your nucleated family, even your extended family, everything is coming to play. So you as a person who did not go for specialized treatment, psychotherapy, you didn't have to be institutionalized or any of those things, and you are blessed to have the Lord by your side. Because some of us had to go the long route. Yeah. So what I want to know is, did you ever, in your inventories, did you ever get to look back and see your inadequacies back then?
No.
You have never looked that far, or you have never thought about it that way?
That's why, rephrase your question. When I was still like in the party scene and all that?
No, before the party scene. I'm saying before you started using in high school.
Yeah.
There's usually, addiction is a lack of connection. What made you started using was because now you were bonding.
Yes, with my bad days.
And not just your bad days, but even the substances.
School. Yes.
So at what point do you think the connection was damaged? Or the damage was done? Yes.
I like what you've said that usually addiction, because there's no connection, you're looking for a connection.
Yeah, you're looking for a connection because as human beings, we are social creatures.
That's a very good question. Because high school, when I started, I wanted to experiment everything. When I was in A level, I was now in a boarding school. I was like, I want to experiment. I want to know what smoking is. Yeah. I want to know how alcohol is.
The curiosity.
I was curious about it. And now the people who are doing those things, who I call my bad days, who are actually still my friends. That was the company I had. That was the bonding. That's the way we would bond. Meaning, there was also an identity problem. You don't know who you are. You know, you need acceptance from people.
You're looking for acceptance.
People want to be part of a group.
Yes.
That's why you see when you're drinking, you have your clique that you drink with.
Identity.
Sometimes problems that misery loves company.
For sure. I don't know. I think you just told my... That's
misery loves company.
Misery loves company.
You're annoyed. Things are not working. Kangene mubara. I've seen that kind of thing on TV. Kangene mubara. Because you just want to be around. But that's a whole... It's a mirage.
Yeah.
it's not true. As in, what you're doing is just something. You're trying to cover up something, cover up the pain, the brokenness, the belonging.
Yes.
Everyone wants to
belong.
Yeah.
Yes.
At home, if you have no love, you go and look for it in the. That's why at some point they said there's more love in the bar than in the church. There's that statement because sometimes the church is so judgmental of people. Yet you're supposed to be welcoming everyone, no matter where you're from.
So growing up, did you feel you were loved?
I was loved. I grew up from a loving family.
No, I'm saying there's you growing up from a loving family, but you're not feeling loved.
I felt the love.
You felt the love?
I'm telling
so
you.
No.
It was just for me, my case in particular. I didn't have but I didn't have love from my father.
Yeah.
My father loved me so much. I loved him as well. I love my mother as well.
Yes.
I think it was just maybe wanted to be part of something.
The curiosity and the discipline.
I was not disciplined. I wanted to be part of a clique. Part of course, some people, their addictions start like that. Everyone has their own story, and like I say, that we're all broken. And even when you find Christ, they are broken pieces. You're not made whole yet.
Yes.
And you see, even the word still says He's the potter. We are the clay. He's mending us. He knows where you're broken, and the more you get more of Him, He's feeling that brokenness. He's feeling every part. He's feeling every part until you're perfected in the end. When I say that when you die, it's actually when you're perfected. That would be another story for another show.
Another show, yeah. So what I actually
you get what I'm trying to say.
For this, usually we have a concept of, everyone goes to the bar, people drink, people do this. But now, from your perspective as a female in the industry, that's a whole different ballgame, as I can assume, because I'm working on assumptions. I've never really known what it would be to be a female in the industry. But from the way society goes about its things, you are in a very, very tricky position.
Being a female, working
at
night.
Being a female, working at night.
In the bar.
So what about all the predators? All the... You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking
about. Because you get so high, we know what alcohol does to people.
Let me even just help you.
Just help me, actually, because...
One, as you can see, I have there's a tomboy thing going on. And that's how I was as well in the bar. So, meaning that more of the guys were around, more of the chicks were around, you get. So, I also used to keep my guard up. There's one thing I was mentioning, that whenever I was drinking, I was working. You see, there's drinking.
Yeah.
Sapare, but for me, my drinking was working. I was on a job.
Yes.
And I always had to make sure I am in control of what I am doing.
Yeah.
So there was no state where I wasn't knowing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
The only time that would happen was when I am having a bad day and I would drink alone. I would go to my room. In fact, there's a time when I had 2 bars. I had one which I had made later on. That's the first one I had made, which was actually in my room. You see, you have a place like this, but then I did not give you ideas. But some people have these ideas.
You converted the bendo into...
I had a studio apartment.
Yes.
I said, you know what? Let me make some money of my place. I got a counter, got the carpenter, make a counter here. Got a fridge. In my room. You see, I was addicted to the party. For me, that was my addiction.
You brought the party to your home now.
Where I was staying. I got like a bed and put the bed outside. I said, who wants to sleep? I need to be. I was driven. These are things which used to control me. Money. And also sex used to control me as well.
No, that one we can never roll it out.
Yep.
In addiction.
Because these are vices.
Yes.
These are vices that happen.
Yeah.
So money, sex, drinking. That was it. I needed to make money. I was a business person. My mind would think quick. I need to make the money.
Yeah.
I put a counter, I put the fridge, I moved the normal lights, I put a disco light. Man, I feel so. The landlord, I'm so sorry if you watch this, I'm sorry. But that's what happened. Yeah. And my friends would come in. You think it's a normal room where you're going to find a bed, but they were chairs. If you know anyone who knows me, they will tell you this story. Anyone who has got, you'd find chairs. It was like a funda inside. They used to call it the flat because it was in a studio apartment. We used to call it the flat. So people would know, where are you going? They're going to go in the flat. And people have their rooms there. They are reading or they're, watching TV. Now, if you open that room, you just hear music, boom, boom, smoke coming out. It was a party. It was a hideout for people. There was a balcony and to be packed with people inside there. Afterwards, I just count, then go restock, That was a life. I was addicted to the party.
Yeah.
That was used to control me. Money can be addictive.
Yes.
When it's not there to work on your brain, because you have made it an idol. When you feel like you don't have it, what are you making your idol right now? That's what's causing you to be depressed. What are you putting above God? And you feel that if I don't have this, I'm not a person. So I feel like if I didn't have money, if I'm not the one who's in control, all the predators they're saying, they are there. But now I've told you, for me, I used to always make sure I'm in control. The only time I will not be in control is when I would be in a room. I've had a bad day. I'll close myself in a room, drink myself silly, eat a blackout,
So
wake up.
is it safe to assume that when you lost your bar, you went for that detrimental drinking phase?
Exactly. And now this time, it wasn't in my own space, because I used to hide
Yes.
when I was doing that. I would say, everyone should see me that I'm in control.
Yes.
I'll do it alone. But now, when everything had gone down, it was...
And now that's
the
I
thing.
understand now that peak usage, because now that peak usage is where the self-destruction and the lack of self-control comes in, and now this is where predators
Exactly.
work the most. So
You're preaching.
as the girl child, how did this affect you in your mental health? Like, because you already spoke about the whole concept of sex and whatnot, but was it now for self-destruction purposes, for coping purposes, bonding purposes?
You're abusing everything.
Yeah.
You see, sex is also meant to be for marriage.
Yeah.
But now you're just
Four vibes.
drinking. Okay, let me have one to relax. But now you're drinking. Let me drink until I fall. I remember there was a beer festival some time back around the museum. And one of my friends actually said, Lord, you're not okay.
Yeah.
I have never had anyone telling me that. Like I've told you, whenever I drink, I'll make sure I'm always in control. But this time round, a friend comes and says, you're not okay.
Yeah.
Or I see you're now drunk. And I never wanted that to ever happen.
Yeah.
One, getting drinks on banter, like I said earlier, and not being in control.
Yeah.
I was on the down slope. That was it. I was on the down slope. So all the other things that I was doing were just for comfort. I even remember there's a point whereby I started doing all these other vices, the drinking, sleeping around, on another level. And I said, I'm like, I used to do this when I was at campus. Why am I doing it again now? I'm a grown person. These are things that campusers do. Those who have no control, Why am I doing it now? And I felt bad. Because, like I was saying, you have to do an assessment. Are you going backwards or you're going
Closer towards your goals or farther away?
Why am I now doing the things that I used to do back at campus? Why am I drinking so much? Why am I doing everything? Because I was trying to numb something. I was trying to numb the disappointment, numb the failure, numb why am I always failing? But when I found Christ, like I said, and I renewed my mind with His word, I watched sermons. Some sermons that I watched, and I thank God that His word actually led me to those sermons, because there were sermons talking about sex, relationship goals. There's relationship goals by Mike Todd. But now the first one, I started listening to people like Mike Todd. I watched that. I listened to people like Jackie Hill Perry. I watched what she talks about. Those are the things that immediately when I got saved, those are people I used to listen to. Those are people who are talking to my spirit. Because you have to also ask yourself, who is talking to you? The battle is your mind. Your mind is what you hear, what you see. These are windows to your mind. Yeah. You listen to a song that is just a jam that even has no meaning. Party. You say, okay, but it will play in your head over and over again. Why is it playing over you? Because it's now in your soul. And like I've said, that's a topic for another day. Because your mind is where everything is going to happen. What are you watching? If you're going to spend the whole day, you're watching pornography. That's what you're going to do later. And that's why you find people now, they try to numb the pain by having sex, the masturbation, abuse, molestation. You start molesting someone who is a young child. Yet in your normal sense, you'd be like, why did I do this? I wouldn't have done it. But something was. So if you're talking about mental health, and you're trying to battle mental health, what are you watching? What are you listening to? I renewed my mind with the word of God each and every day. I started watching sermons. I started learning all and all. I started relearning, learning again. What I thought was right now is, okay, this is not the truth. And you see, the word of God also says that you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. An addict is in bondage.
Yes.
until they know the truth of, okay, it's what sets them
Apart.
free. It's what, when you actually said, okay, I've been living a lie all along, this has not been working for me. It's what's going to set you free. So I did that. I got into the word. Then I got a gig to train some people, some ladies at an NGO. I made some good money, innocent money, but God had better plans. God had bigger plans. And that's where now I'm now into radio.
Yeah.
And
A whole different career path.
but I also liked radio at some point. I wanted to join radio from young, when I was young.
Yeah.
It was among the things that I wanted to do. And he made a way. And now here I am doing the
Carrying
radio
the
thing.
message.
I did boxing. I did not leave my boxing. Now when I was living a cleaner life, my life was church, gym. Church, gym. Training, discipline, I wouldn't go back to where the vices were because I had made a choice.
Yeah.
I would avoid them. I remember in the beginning I would have phone calls, hey, where are you? Come. I was like, no, I'm okay. You have to choose.
Yeah.
You have to know.
You have to pick a struggle.
You have to pick a struggle.
Yeah.
So that was my rehab. Because now when I started doing that, the boxing came in. I started boxing better. I became a national champion. And that was all God. Because now my mind was?
Had you boxed for more than 4 years before you became champion?
1 year.
That's the power of the Lord. There's nothing else to that, because you joined the sport in that year and by the end you were champion.
Yeah. No. It was 2 years.
2 years, huh?
2 years.
But that is still impeccable, though.
Yeah. I give glory to him.
Yeah.
He's the authority. So that was what I was addicted to.
Yeah.
That is my addiction story. Addicted to the party, addicted to the rush. And people usually, when you're looking at addictions, you want to look at, where's the heroin addict? Where is the what? But we have addicts all over. People are addicted to the party. And it's taking them down the drain. If you had to count the amount of money bars make,
you would know.
If you had to count the the amount of money cigarette companies make. I used to sell cigarettes. I had a gig I remember my good boss said that you sell your cigarettes. I would buy cigarettes from the wholesaler. I put them there. And that was quick. Let me tell you, money, the first life, money comes and goes. Even when you die, you leave your money here. It's not going to speak for you. But that's what we are chasing. You're chasing that so much. But if you you have to have an authority whereby you make money work for you. Now I know how to, and I'm still learning.
The right way.
I know how to handle money. Money can make you a slave, or you can be its master. If you don't have God as your master, money is going to make you a slave.
Yes.
So that's the thing. Now I know that, okay, this money I've got it now, let me put here, let me tithe. Okay, let me invest here, save. But that wisdom is not there anymore. In fact, yesterday, what was interesting is that I didn't have that wisdom way back. Yesterday, what's interesting that I was just going through the small things. I was thinking about the bar that I had closed just yesterday.
Yeah.
Then an idea came in my mind and I laughed. I was like, wow. If I had this wisdom from God, I would have made the right decisions, even when I was in that. But I didn't have wisdom because I didn't have God. I didn't have the self-control. I didn't have... So now, that's the journey. Did the boxing. I retired a year back when COVID came in. That's why you can see when the weight has come back a bit. Because I was boxing at 60 kgs. You have to box at a particular weight category. I was 60. I had to cut. And I started boxing when I was 91 kilograms.
When you started boxing?
Yes, I was 91 and I went up to 60 because now you have discipline. Sports is really good when it comes to discipline.
I know. I know. Usually, the addict lacks discipline in their life and structure.
Control.
Yeah. So, your story is a typical curiosity through life, using the fast life, the party. And for you, the beauty about it is you even didn't need anyone else's help. You got help direct from the man himself.
The man above.
Yeah, the man above.
Yeah, Jesus stepped in.
Yeah. So, to most people out there, especially the youth, especially society, people, generally everyone that's out there, because we're all struggling with these things. We all know someone who has a mental health issue. We know someone who goes so fast in life. We know people that are drinking themselves, using themselves to death, or engaging in whichever vices that are detrimental to their lives. What do you believe the best approach to this kind of situation is? From your perspective, as someone who has lived it as an individual, and you know how many people are struggling with such things, What do you think we're failing to confront?
From what I went through, from the party lifestyle and all that, what we're not confronting is what people, I'll just say what people need is to know they're loved. That's what people need. People need to know that they are loved and they have purpose.
Yes.
Because all these things are just identity things. You think you have money, and if I get this money, everyone will see me as... Because I know what's driving the world now is power, sex, money. I'm the CEO, okay, that is it. Because you want to be accepted.
Yeah.
People need to know that they are loved and they are accepted. You can have all the success, but you have a broken home. You can have all the... I think you get where I'm going.
I really get where you're going with this.
All these other things are just material.
Yeah.
You can find a person who is the best at finance, Fortune 500 company, whatever, but divorced 7 times. Why? Because there's something that they don't have.
Love.
You find artists who are into music, and but why are most of them committing suicide?
They're not happy. They don't feel loved or appreciated.
There's something that is missing. Yeah. They have all the fame, you have all the endorsements, you have everything. Why are you committing suicide? There's a guy who died recently. Is it Mike or something? An actor. He's up in The Wire.
Yeah.
But he had a drinking problem. He said he had a drug problem. When I was reading this, it was a drug problem.
Yeah.
But he had everything. Why did he have Elvis Presley? He was the king of rock and roll at some point. What happened? He was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But he had everything. So what was missing? You have purpose. You are created with a purpose. And the person who created you knows you. The person who made this microphone knows what the microphone is supposed to do. And the person who made you is God. Until you tap onto that person, until you tap into that power, and he knows why you are here, he knows your purpose, and he loves you. Once you get that acceptance from him, he already accepts you. He loves you. Because you are his child, he created you. Until you know the manufacturer and you say, okay, God, you're the one who made me. Why am I here? What's the plan? And you tap into his love. And you don't make anything an idol. People think idols are these things that statues.
You bring nothing close to him.
A phone can be your idol. Money can be an idol. Sex can be an idol. Social media can be an idol. Having many followers can be an idol. When you don't have the followers, you feel like you're less of a person. Yeah. Those are idols. Things that define who you are. The things you look to define who you are, that you have made it. Those are idols. Yet the person who has defined you is the person who has created. Yes. He should be your only God and the only person who sets the standard. Should matter. Yeah. Thank you very much. So until people get to know that they need Jesus, and they need to tap into Jesus because he knows the plan, because he knows that they have a purpose, and because he loves them more than anything, then they'll start loving themselves. Mm. Because even when you're drinking and falling down and getting drunk, like I've said, getting drunk. For me, the problem I have is getting drunk. You can have your 2, go and sleep. No, you haven't fought with anyone. No, you know, cover. But now you're getting drunk, you're making bad decisions, you're smoking yourself, your lungs out, you're taking the weed and beating people, you're robbing places, you're raping children, That's where the problem.
All kinds of
yes, that's where the problem comes. That's the problem. That's where the problem comes in.
Yes.
So until you get the person who has the control, who will give you that control that you need to tap into him.
Yes. So we have to learn how to love ourselves. Learn to love each other.
In fact, something they've actually told me that I'd actually forgotten.
Yes.
Yes. When you see that what the things you're doing are not, it's not you loving yourself. That's not you loving yourself.
Yeah.
Until you get to know that you are loved and you have purpose, you start loving yourself that, oh, by the way, I have purpose. By the way, there's a plan for me. By the way, I don't need your validation to say that I am this. There's someone else who already validated me. You start loving yourself, you start making the right decisions.
So basically, the truth of the matter is sometimes we actually need to be validated.
There's a need for validation that makes us do the things we do, You might not see it.
In that some people are naturally down and they actually need us to uplift them.
the rejection.
Yeah.
You feel rejected, or someone rejected you when you were younger. Now, like, boys, really the struggle. You talk to a girl, she said no.
It can
That was the beginning of you being a player. Now everything. That was the beginning. That's the brokenness I'm talking about. Just a small thing like that changed your life and made you who you are now. And now you're struggling. You're battling things. So like I said, what people need, what you need is to know you are loved. What you need is love. Remember my deliverance story? The voice said, all the world needs is love. And guess what? God is love. So all the world needs is God.
Yes.
They need Jesus. Tap into that. Tap into his word. Yes. Things will change. It's a process. It's not easy. It's a struggle. At first you are broke. I remember the person used to move with a lot of money in my pockets from the bar, because the bar would give me a lot of money.
Adjusting to the reality of normal life.
The time I just sat on the 2K and I'll be going home. I had to be my transport. But I was like, okay. But I was okay. I had peace.
I had hope.
I had peace. I was okay with it.
Yeah. And
that's the thing. It's a journey. It's a wilderness you're going to go through. You're going to go down, get back up, but keep moving. Don't give up. When you fall down, see where you're fallen. Do an assessment. Why did I fall? What did I do wrong? I shouldn't do it again. Ask for help, because he will help you. If there's some unforgiveness you have that's making you, maybe you are abused, and now that's why you're into drugs right now. Maybe you are abused as a child, sexually abused as well. Now that's why you're doing the things you're doing. You don't like men, and you're doing the things you're doing. That has to change. There's someone who's going to heal you. Get that healing.
The Lord that stoops.
Yeah.
So basically, in my own words, what I understand is addiction. The opposite of addiction is not sobriety, but connection.
To a higher power.
Not just to a higher power, but even to individuals. That is why we should love each other, love ourselves, love our Lord, and hopefully aim for the better good. I believe as individuals it may be difficult to impact the most change, but let's try it individual per individual and hopefully get the whole society on board.
Okay, and me, like what I'll say, for me, connection is to that higher power. Without it, you have no power.
That's for sure. Yeah. So it's been a very lovely conversation. I really, really want to bring you back for this show on the aspect really of spirituality, because we have not really spoken about it, and I'm Muslim, and there's so many things I also work upon myself. But I like the fact that you did sports. I myself incorporate the sports program, the reading. You read the Bible, I read whatever I read. I mean, these are things that you need a purpose and we need structure as people who struggle. If you struggle with anything, look at your structures, look at your foundation, and make sure they are not shaky.
Yeah, I like what you've said.
Yeah, there's no need in us rushing life, yet our foundation is still very weak. So hopefully next time we'll have you on the show to talk about...
As long as I can talk about Jesus and God, I have
no problem.
I'll come from Kanungu. Yeah. I'll come from where I'm coming from. I'll make it here.
Yeah. So thank you very much for being on the show. Actually, you can send us out. They usually say like, comment those things. So you can close the show for us. And
okay. Like, share this video. Someone might need it out there. If it has impacted you, share, like, because they're doing some good work. They're doing good work. You guys are doing some good work when it comes to helping people out, with the things they're battling with. So share and like this video and subscribe as well to the channel. Yep.
All right. Thank you. Kudos.
It numbs you, a nightmare, a horrible disease. These are just a few of the ways people have described mental illness in their lives, whether it's you, your child, or a friend. Mental illness impacts all of us in the same ways, and that's why the Mind Space podcast is committed to uncovering mental illness and the impact it has.